Hello and welcome to video number 1. It's just going to be a really quick introduction to Alice. And I'm hoping that you will use these videos as a way to review some material, and maybe if you don't understand something you can go back and watch the video again or find parts of it that will help show you what's what. Okay, so let's get started. Alice is an introductory programming course. It's the very beginning. It's got Java as the underlying language, and I'll show you about that towards the end. And in this class, I'm hoping that you will learn how to program using animation and storytelling, and hopefully building some short games. And by using Alice, what you're going to be able to do is it's a rapid prototyping tool, which means if you have an idea, you can put it into play immediately. And that's unusual in programming because things don't come that fast. So anyway, you'll get used to it, and I hope you'll have a good time with it. Some points of help are the help page, which is just at www.alice.org, and that's where you can, if you wish, download and install Alice. Make sure you're doing 3.2. And also, if you go to our haiku page, you're going to see, okay, so I just figured out how to do this. I'm trying to switch pages. Hang on, here we go. Sorry. Let's try this one more time. That's not what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Okay, our haiku page. Oh, drat. Here's our haiku page, finally. Sorry about that. And if you go to helpful, maybe videos to watch, these are the videos that are from the Alice website. And so if you click on this, what you'll get is this page. And so you're going to see references to the video 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the page. You know, I think it's sort of helpful to watch because it shows you how to do stuff, but I got to tell you, the guy is a little bit boring. I think I'm much more interesting, but you can be the judge of that. So here are some things if you wish to check it out. We're going to be doing basically videos 1, 2, and 3 today. Okay, let's get back to the, oh man, let's get back to the PowerPoint. I'll get better at this as the year goes on, I promise. Okay, so for example, if you went to video 0.1, it's just going to give you a brief tour. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Let's get into the meat of this thing. It'll be a lot more fun. All right, here's the real slideshow. So we're going to talk a little bit about classes and objects. And here's a world. So when you start Alice, you're going to see that you have templates. You have choices. And you can choose sea or the moon or grass, lots of different options. And what you're going to see is this picture. And this is the camera view. And this scene is literally known as, quote, this scene. And the word this is going to become really important. It's kind of weird, but you'll get used to it. So what does the scene have? It always has a camera and a ground surface, which, as I said, could be grass or sand if you have beach, or rocks, or even water. And you're going to be adding objects to the scene because otherwise all you're doing is looking at grass, and that's just not very interesting. But remember that you always have camera and a ground surface. So here's the camera view, and a camera is one of the objects, and these are all the procedures which are basically telling the camera what to do. And this right here is where you are going to be editing your code, and you're doing it by dragging and dropping it, okay? And you can see these tabs up here. This is really important. My first method is always a method that's sort of driving the whole story. So the scene editor, if you click on this scene right here, then you're going to be able to set up the scene. You want to click on this thing and it'll make it big, and you'll be able to do some edits from there. The things that you want to edit is you want to add objects. Okay, so what you're going to do is when you get to that place, and so again, remember we went to like edit scene, was a button down here. Now you're going to see these 3 buttons, and we're going to learn how to use them, but it lets you manipulate the camera and how you're looking at the scene. And down here are your objects. Ultimately, it's called a gallery, and you're going to be choosing the type of objects you want to do. Do you want to do boats? Do you want to do bipeds, which are, you know, people, things that fly, etc., etc. So you go to the gallery and you figure out what it is that you're looking for, and you narrow it down. So the 2 words that I want you to take away from this video are about class and objects. And if you wish, you can go back to that video 0.02, like I talked to you about. So every 3D model, the 3D model are the things that you're going to put into your scene, and it's part of a class. And these classes have already been designed for you, which is really nice. And what a class does is it defines a plan for constructing a new object and the actions that that object can perform. And that's going to be really important because they can't all do the same things. For example, if you look at, I don't know, this thing, we're in the biped class, it looks like. Bunnies have ears, and maybe the ears will wag, whereas this thing is an alien. It doesn't seem to have ears, and they certainly wouldn't wag. All right, so different classes, and these are all different classes right here, will be able to do different things. So what a class does is it has a plan. It has a plan for whatever the objects are in that class. Just like, and this is kind of fun to look at. This is the layout for a house. I can explain it more if you're into architecture, but it's just kind of a cool idea. Okay. An instance of a class, and that's language you need to know. An instance of a class is an object. And so we're going to talk about how to make new objects, and that's going to include all sorts of properties about them. So like I said, the gallery tab has all these different organization schemes. You can do it by class hierarchy, which I think is probably what you're going to do, or by theme. All right, so I don't know, maybe if you want to get into fantasy, then you would look at objects that would apply to fantasy. That would be kind of a cool way to look about it. Or the ocean, same thing, right? So you might have some ocean plants and some fishes and all sorts of things. You could also do it by group. And so the Alice programmers have decided that the group would be like maybe animals or characters or household objects or plants, etc., etc. So you should really take some time and just explore, okay? See how they're organized. One way, for example, this first tab, we said it's a gallery by class hierarchy. This is, they're organized. You can kind of think of it as a filing cabinet on how objects move around in each scene. So a biped means it walks on 2 legs. A flyer, as you might have guessed, means it has wings and can fly. A quadruped, and I'm not sure that's spelled right. Quadruped walks on 4 legs, and a swimmer obviously swims. Okay, here's another video you can watch if you want to check it out. So, but I think this is probably enough information. So you select whatever folder you want. Let's suppose we're going to click on the quadruped class. What's kind of cute, it's, shows you kind of the inside there. And then within quadruped, so these are all things with 4 legs, we're going to choose something. Okay, so these are also still classes because we haven't gotten quite specific enough yet. And they decided that they want to check out dragon babies. So this is a folder with lots of different choices for dragon babies. There's 10 different versions of the dragon babies. And if you click on it, here you go. And the versions are by color. Okay, so they've decided they want a pink dragon baby. I don't know why, but they do. So what you're going to do is click on it, and then that's going to be the one you choose, and you're going to have some options about how to name it, etc., etc. Okay, so for some reason they decided to call it Fergie, and so Fergie shows up right here, and it's pinkish. They call it default red. You can decide what color that is. And as you click it, it shows up in your scene. And this circle is going to help you orient it, which means figure out, do you want it tilted side to side, forward, back? You want to move it up or down. You'll be able to manipulate that. So what you've just done is you took a new instance of this class. There's something called a baby dragon class. So that's called instantiating. I will type it up on the board for you. Instantiating the baby dragon class. You chose a member of the class, okay? And you've called it Fergie for some reason. So an object is defined as an instance of a class. That's just some programming language for you. Now, another way you could do it is, suppose you found the baby dragon you want. You can actually click and drag on it, which is how I usually do it, all right? You just click and drag and you can place it where you want. And all the other pop-ups will show up just like before. You can name it as well. They decided to name this one Bert. So you got Fergie and Bert. They're 2 different objects, 2 different instances of the same class. So this is really important too. Different objects have different names. They might have different color sizes and other properties. They might not. They might look identical, but you need to tell the program which one to manipulate, and that's why you need to name them. You could call it Fergie 1 and Fergie 2 if you wanted to. I think it's more interesting if they have different names. That's going to be your call. Okay, so we've got an example here of a scene with 2 different objects from the same class. And that's it. Okay, that wasn't so bad for the first video, was it? All right, hope you enjoyed it.